everybody. Welcome back to Sports and Ish with Misty V and Vince Edwards. We are back. It is Friday, and oh my gosh, with all the trades and all the craziness that has taken place in just the last few days, and of course the NBA draft just taking place last night, we have a lot to go over. And I know we promised the NFL and the college football talk was coming, but we're going to have to hold off on that. We've got some things to throw out because, oh my gosh, Vino, talk to me. How are you feeling about what's going on?
A lot of fireworks. Like we said, we were going to talk about football and transition, but we forgot about the draft. We forgot about just, I guess, more fireworks that we're going to kick off for free agency than we anticipated. So it's, they definitely shook some things up in the last 72 hours. In this basketball world, there's been some crazy things going on. It's interesting to see what Portland's going to do because Dame is still hesitant. Like it's a lot of things that's coming out that's going to be wild within these next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
It's fun. It's exciting. It's so exciting. Like just seeing all the trades just in the last 24 hours. Some of the trades, as you know, already broke my heart. We'll get to that in a minute. Some of the trades hurt a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Were you about to go ahead? No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was going to start off with Victor Wembanyama. Am I saying that right? Wemby?
Yeah.
Finally, a San Antonio Spur. That kid, watching his interview post-draft, that kid was so emotional. He is so excited. He's got what looks like a tremendous amount of support from his family. My question to you is this. That kid is 7'5". I think I made the joke. He looks like a walking stick. That kid is just so tall. He's all limbs. But he's all limbs. How do you see teams putting together a defense against somebody that tall? Like, how's that going to look? Because you actually have played against this kid, right? Like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard because he's 7'5". You know, you can't – a lot of things that we like to say, especially in the sports world, is you can't teach height. You can't teach height. You can't teach speeds. You can do like mechanisms for speed, or you can do techniques or something to help people feel like they're going to run faster. But you can't really teach fast twitch muscles or height. And so when you got a guy like Wembanyama who is 7'5", but can also move like a wing, I think like obviously we always talk about how like KD is 7 foot, but he plays like a guard. We haven't really seen like Porzingis is a good example of like being tall but can move, but I still think that Wembanyama is even a little bit more fluent than Porzingis is. Like I can put, as far as being able to move like a guard, talent-wise, I can put like Wemby and Bobo in the same category. Like they're long, they're tall, but they move a little bit more athletically in that sense. And so, and you've seen some of the plays Bobo made, and it's like Wemby's going to be making those same exact plays, if not more. So it becomes to a point where there's so much space on the NBA floor, like I talked about before when we had our first podcast, when I first came in and talked about playing in France, because obviously I played against them. There's no defensive 3 seconds. There's no bigs going to be sitting there. Nobody can camp out. Like it's going to be difficult to deal with because this guy is 7'5". He can shoot over 90% of the NBA. Even guys who are 7 foot, he's still going to be able to shoot over them. So it's going to be interesting to see what guys try to do. I know in the NBA, things are a lot of strategic. So if they find a weakness in his game, a loophole in his game, that they're probably going to force it. People like to play numbers. So they figure out, he's less effective going left than he is going right. They'll force him more that way. If they find out he likes to turn over one shoulder more than the other, like let's say his turnaround fadeaway over his right shoulder is a 50% shot versus over his left shoulder. It's only probably about 40 to 39%. Then teams are going to be like, hey, we catching the post. We're shading this side. We're forcing him to the other side because his percentages drop, or if he's not that good of a decision maker. But from what I can see, I mean, he sees over everybody from what I played against him. So it was like, we didn't have anybody 7 foot on our team. We had Jawan Johnson, who was about 6'10", but that was the tallest we had. The guy's 7'5". So even when we did send a double team, it did not matter. So unless you somehow magically got a Bobo and a Porzingis coming both on the double team on him, he's going to be able to see offense. He's going to be able to see cutters. He's going to be able to see shooters. I think the biggest thing for San Antonio that they have to do is just surround him with that. If you surround him with shooters, cutters, playmakers, I think it's going to be a nightmare For anybody that's going to try to match up with him, he is literally an alien when it comes to that. I have a lot of praise for the guy because you could tell he's humble. He has a humility to himself. He showed raw emotion, even though he was going number one pick. He still showed that raw emotion because you could tell it's been a dream of his. It's like a prophecy fulfilled with the whole Tony Park connection, the French to French connection. So just from playing him personally, and one of my good friends, Michael Frazier, who also played, was one of his teammates for a little bit there at the end of the season. I kind of got to ask him about him, and he just said, man, the kid comes to work. He shows up every day wanting to get better. He's always in the gym doing all his curricular activities, whether it's stretching right, getting extra mobility for his body, doing anything. He's a pro's pro. So, and going with Coach Pop and being in the San Antonio organization where they're known for that, I feel like he's going to fit right in. Tim Duncan's going to be over there. All those guys are going to be there. So he has everything that he needs. I think when he learns the physicality of the game, when he learns that, well, really, they can't be as physical as he's used to playing against. Some refs allow, some refs don't. But in France, man, you can be as physical. European ball, you can be as physical as you want at times. Now, some people might make the notion or comment that you can barely touch Wemby, which at times he was French prodigy child, so it was tough. But yeah, with a lot of space and just everything that he has going on for himself, he has shoes around him, and he's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah. I agree. It'll be interesting. I can't help but watch him move, like when they like take videos of him moving through airports and through like New York subways, and you're like, I just want to watch him walk. His hand length alone, like, oh my gosh, that kid's got to have the most amazing control over a ball because it looks like his hand wraps around over half of it. Like, it's just so big.
He's a pretty big human. I think he makes plays that makes it. We say this often with 7-footers, but when I played this guy, literally, like, he made plays that seem like you can only make on a Nerf hoop, or you can only make if you're outside and the rim's on 7 foot. I mean, everybody's seen the clip he was playing against Monaco at Monaco. He shoots a step back three, follows it up, and tip dunks it. Like, you don't see that often. And then he just made so many plays. And we were sitting at my mom's birthday was yesterday, so we were sitting at the draft and watching, all the selections in the first round. And my brother was like, man, I'm proud of you, man. You know why? I said, why? He's like, because I looked up there, you didn't make his highlight reel. I was like, yeah, that was the goal right there. That was the goal right there. Definitely knew that was going to be, that was a main goal. But no, it was a fun matchup. He's honestly the first person I could say that I actually guarded where I had to break my neck to look up at him. Like, it was, but really good dude. Respects the game. For what I heard, he works hard, so he's got an unbelievable talent. I think he'll be around the league for a while. San Antonio got a good one, and I think he'll make a lot of people proud. And he'll do good. He has everything that he needs. Playing against him was definitely different. I do feel like, I got some good highlights on it, so I'm gonna stick with that. But other than that, though, we beat them once at our place. They beat us at their place, and obviously they made it to the finals, and we didn't. So that tells you all you need to know.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. What about any of these other drafts that took place last night? I mean, I had a few. Of course, I was watching the kid that he picked up, the UCLA kid, the Jamie. Yeah. God, please don't let me butcher his name. Jamie Jaquez Jr. Is that him, the UCLA guy?
Listen, I didn't even try to pronounce it with them last night. No disrespect to the guy. I didn't watch too much of college basketball this year. Obviously, he improved more. He was the first player of the year at UCLA since Kevin Love. So obviously, that mean the guy did what he was supposed to do and took care of business and dominated when he, took care of, his job every night in and night out in matchups, wherever it may be. So I think the Heat picked what they felt was right. The analysts say he always plays hard. So you can't imagine Miami Heat picking anybody. Whoever they pick are going to be blue collar guys who play hard, guys who work hard. So you don't just get picked by the Miami Heat if you don't, play hard, work hard, or whatever it may be. So they saw fit in their culture. And from the games I watched, when they made that magical run, and before they lost to Suggs with the buzzer beater at Gonzaga. I watched a lot of them that year. I thought he was a really good player that year as well. So I think they got the right fit in that sense and that notion. They went with the best what they see fit, and I think he'll fit in. I don't know if he'll play right away. Only time will tell. However they see fit, however works out. He could be traded. You never know. So it's hard to say with anybody these days until the season starts because it's not guaranteed. Even though you got drafted on that team, just because you didn't get traded on draft night might not mean they might not move you for something that's ready now. So. But he's a veteran guy. He played 4 years, I believe. So he's got the experience. So I think they might keep him, in that notion. So we'll see.
Very nice. All right.
I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to see the Brandon Miller kid. I don't know how you feel about him. I know he had some outrageous comments that people didn't like. But how do you feel about the Brandon Miller kid from Alabama and him going number 2 to Charlotte?
I didn't do my homework on that kid. I was picking out some of my favorite teams. I was like, okay, okay. But I did not do my homework on Brandon Miller. So you're gonna have to give me a spiel on that one.
People were getting on him because he just commented on things that were commented to him. Michael Jordan said something about him shooting. He said Michael Jordan airballed a free throw. Like people were just giving him back in the kid. Yeah, that's Brandon. Yeah, that's him. And then he said
now
Paul George.
I know who he is.
They said Paul George was his goal, and people did not take to that kindly. So I mean, but like he said when he got the chance to kind of clear the air, because obviously the media would just take whatever catches headlines. He didn't say that. He didn't think LeBron was the best player, in the league still or in the world.
Right.
He literally just said Paul George is his GOAT. A lot of people would disagree with that, but at the end of the day, like you said, that's his GOAT. That's who we grew up watching, and that's who we idolize. If you pay attention to his game, it's very similar, and you have some very just like the clips where Kobe and Mike will put Kobe and Mike together. Not saying he's in their category or in the Paul George category yet, but you definitely can see he model his game after him. And there are some clips of them side by side where there's a lot of similarities. I did see a lot of like Charlotte Hornets fans upset because they wanted Scoot Henderson over him, but I don't know. I'm not sure on the time will tell.
Scoot went to the Blazers, right?
Mm-hmm. That was a safety net just in case Dame decides to get out of there.
Yeah, right. I think there's a lot of safety nets that were set up on these trades the last few days. So again, some of these safety nets broke my heart a little bit, but that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. How do you feel about your new look Celtics right now?
What do you mean? Are you talking about like Kristaps Porzingis? Like we know obviously that I know that they got some pieces off the draft last night, and I know that these trades that they just did obviously necessary. These were good trades, but I hated to see Marcus Smart go to the Grizzlies because you just think I always thought that guy would retire with the Celtics. So. And maybe he will. His career's not over. He's just going to the Grizzlies for a little while, maybe. I don't know. But anyways, I know that they did pick up some pieces last night. But I'm most interested to see how they're going to utilize guys like Kristaps Porzingis in the mix-up. Hopefully, Jaylen Brown stays on board. We get to keep some of that magic from the last few seasons and see how they can work all that in together. How do you feel?
I'm not sure. I'm anxious to see how it plays out. It looks like as of right now, Derek White's going to be the starting point guard.
Yeah. That's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Yeah. I shouldn't have said that.
It's not because he played his way into that role. He waited his time. Obviously, nobody expected Marcus Smart to be gone. I did see one thing that was crazy though, that you guys offered Smart for Jordan Poole. I thought that was I think maybe the Warriors, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the Warriors offered Jordan Poole for Marcus Smart, and I don't see that. I don't think it went through. But
No.
that would have been another interesting scenario for him to be in. I think he
Yeah.
fits right in, and Memphis with the whole grit grind. They definitely need a veteran point guard who's been around, been there. It might be
Yeah.
good for Ja.
Right.
Who
With
knows?
him being out for 25 games. Yeah.
And when Ja comes back, I think they can make it work. I mean, I think you kind of fill in the role where Dylan Brooks left off by picking up a Marcus Smart. So, he's going to guard the perimeter best players. And you still got, defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson Jr. So I think that was a good move for them for sure. For Boston, it's interesting to see what was going to happen. I seen a report that maybe they're interested in bringing Kyrie back. So
Really?
it's a lot of things going around right now. And like I said, the last podcast, if you want to have all the buzz and know what's going on, just try to find a way to get to Las Vegas for Summer League, because you will literally see everybody. You'll get to watch some great basketball. You get to see some great prospects, but you also will get to hear all the buzz and everything that's going around. It's amazing.
So it's interesting. I didn't hear the rumor about Kyrie possibly ending up at Boston. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean they want to resign him, but who knows? The Mavs, that is, for Kyrie.
Right. And of course, I think we were texting each other about Draymond Green turning down. Because basically he's gonna. So wait, you tell me, does that mean that Draymond Green will for sure enter free agency on June 30th? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah, he declined it, so he has no choice but to enter it. But it's the notion of it's just the notion of, now that Poole is gone, you're gonna keep Draymond, because that was the whole scenario. It was just like they were never able to, and Steve Kerr admitted, they were never able to get over what happened in the incident.
Yeah.
And, the entire world on social media are detectives. They were able to literally show, as soon as the trade went through, Jordan Poole unfollowed Draymond Green. So it was like, obviously the bad blood was still there. I do think now with Jordan Poole gone, it definitely frees up that cap space. CP does bring in a lot, but I think you do keep Draymond now, and then you have CP. So you have some of the high IQ basketball players, on your side. Yeah. I think he takes a pay cut, if you ask me. And I think it works out for him. I do think they start next year with the small ball lineup. I do potentially see that with CP starting at the 1 and Curry at the 2. It doesn't matter where they start, because they're both going to do what they always done their entire career. Clay, you got the 3, probably Wiggins play the 4, and Draymond starts at the 5. So it's interesting to see what they do. I don't think they're done. I don't think a lot of people are done. Yeah, but I definitely see that happening. No knock to Looney, because he's a great guy. He's Mr. Reliable. He's going to be there for every single game. But if you're putting your best 5 out there, I think that's their best 5. I don't see CP really come off the bench this late in his career. I don't really see him being as like how they try to do Melo, where he's more of a scoring spark. No, he's a floor general. So it allows Curry to be free and move off the ball, run off the ball, and trust, whether it's Draymond that has the ball or now CP, whose nickname is a point guy, has the ball, and it's just easy. So it's interesting to see how that combination is going to work. Actually, give him 2 of the best shooters. It's like a crazy stat. He leads the league in finding guys for 3-pointers. So it's like number 1 in assists when it comes to that. And now you give him arguably the 2 best shooters of all time. And so it's definitely going to get interesting for sure.
I like that you called him a floor general. That's a cool name.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer for sure, first ballot.
Oh yeah, I mean he's just obviously one of those people that's so professional on and off the court. He's such a cool guy. Like, I like that you called him a floor general. I've never heard that before.
I love CP. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him. My first year in Houston was his last year, and just a really good dude. Took care of me, invited me over. I ate with the family, made sure I was okay. My mom showed up to road games. He talked to my mom. He's just stand-up guy, humility, humble.
Good guy.
So, I have nothing bad to say about CP at all. So
he actually, not to totally jump off subject, we'll jump back, but actually, I worked in soccer for a while. And actually, it was CP who put on that huge tournament over in, was it South Carolina? And he had all those soccer teams and former that. Yeah, right. I think even Chad Ochocinco came down and played with some of the Cincinnati guys. But that was Chris Paul, I think, leading that entire tournament, which was pretty cool. What a completely diverse thing to do for Chris Paul. So yeah.
Anything he can do for the community, like his community, especially down there, or just in general that he can do to bring light or just bring as much attention or awareness to any of the situations. So got to tip your cap to somebody like that who's always looking to just give back or, give people something to look forward to.
For sure. Well, that's about all my knowledge. I think I know some more things, but those were my things where I was like, what just happened?
I mean, you got to switch. We got to switch to Phoenix. What's going on?
Wait.
Brad Bill to Phoenix is for what
that's
they
right.
got.
You sent that to me. You were like, whoa. Yeah.
I think I said whoa because of what they got him for. That was the woe to me for some second round picks and for CP. I don't know. I'm not in those rooms or make those decisions, but I felt like you would have got more for a guy like Brad Bill. I know they wanted to do right by him because of what he's done and how he stuck it out, kind of like Dame. Like I'm pretty sure Dame decides I want to be traded. Portland's going to do their best to meet his requirements and where he wants to go so he can, contend for a title. So, like I said, I'm just shocked to see what they got in return, but I'm sure Washington's not done making moves. Chris Paul got moved fast. They turned around and got Poole, who I think is obviously going to be the focal point of the offense. I don't think Kuzma's going to resign there, but Brad Bill to the Suns makes them by far have the best four players on paper in the starting lineup.
You think so? You think so? Okay.
Absolutely. You have three of the most prolific scorers in the league on one team. Between, obviously Jason Tatum's one of them, Jaylen Brown's one of them when he gets, when he comes out aggressive. But as far as barely, when you literally look at barely any weaknesses in their game, as far as it doesn't matter if they go left or right, doesn't matter if it's a catch and shoot, doesn't matter if it's a pull up, doesn't matter if it's a post up. You can get dunked on, shot over, crossed, it just does not matter when it comes to those three guys. So interesting to see how they do it. I don't think they have a problem deferring to each other at times, but there's going to be a lot of ISO play, which they like. Will it win them a championship? Who knows? Will it get them there? We'll see. This will be their first training camp with KD. So, I mean, the fact that they get to go into a training camp with, all the guys, Brad, D-Book, and KD, I think that's great for them. Anxious to see if Ayton stays. I know he had a lot of problems with, Monty and CP, but they're both gone now. Right. So who knows if he could put the differences aside. I know him and Book would get into it at times a little bit too. So it's very interesting to see how that dynamic is going to work out for those three or four. But I definitely think by far they have the best four on paper in the starting four, as far as talent goes. Now, when you're looking at teams, obviously you could say this team's better chemistry than those four. But as far as if you're telling me I go shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, that's the best four right now, in my opinion.
Nice. Sorry, I was drinking some water.
No, nice. You're good.
Love it. Nice. I think that's all I have. What else you got for me?
Oh,
give me everything that's on Vino's heart today.
A lot of things. I don't know. I guess the interest is to see where Miami goes. Pat Riley's came out and he's been on a roll about Jimmy does have the weight of the weight on his shoulders, the weight of the world when it comes to the Heat organization, and they know he knows that, and he knows that, but they're also reluctant about or willing to get him help, and they're going to do all that they can, but who knows where they go from here. I know Brad Bill was on their list. I know Kyrie was, but I know they're probably going to target Dame. So it's definitely something to look forward to on that side. If Dame does choose to ask for a trade, yeah, I do think Miami Heat's definitely one team to be on the high alert for. And I think he'd be a good fit in Milwaukee. I don't know if Dame would want to go live in Milwaukee after living in Portland for years, but I think that could be a good thing with him and Giannis in a pick and roll. Surprised Chris Middleton opted out of his player option.
Yeah,
that one had me shocked because I was almost 100% sure, but maybe he did that to help take a pay cut to lure somebody in like Dame. You know, we never know. So same with Draymond. Maybe Draymond opted out just to help money-wise. And so you get very anxious to see what these guys are going to do. And then now James is still on the watch. Does he get to Houston? And in Houston, all these young guys, did you draft all these young guys to be able to send them up to Philly just to get James back to Houston? Because it's like, okay, we lose James, but at least we get all these promises. You know, the kid Cam, I think his last name is Whitmore from Villanova. I want to say one of the Thompson twins. I don't want to confuse them, but he got drafted at number 4 spot to Houston, and so many ways that you can look at this thing for him. So I do think that's an interesting spark. Then you got guys like Fred VanVleet, who's out there, who was advocating getting into Philly. So it's going to get pretty heavy here these next couple of days or next couple of weeks just to see fitting. But the Raptors believe that they're going to have most of their core back, but they're also, I'm sure I've seen that they're also listening to talks. There's people who's been offering talks for Mikal Bridges and trade talks. And I think they said the Nets turned down like 3 first-round picks because they were trying to get Mikal Bridges. I forgot what team it was. They offered them 3 first-round picks, and they said no. I thought that was insane, but I get it. Paul George is a possible Knick. We don't know where Paul George is going to go. It's now you shift to Portland because I think if Portland is to keep Dame, I think Paul George is a look. If he stays healthy, is 100% on, obviously, you know, basketball gods and his body as well. I don't think that's something not to look at. I know the Knicks were in pursuit of a trade, so they remembered his history of injuries, and they weren't 100% sure how they would feel about that because of, I guess, the assets that they would have to give the Clippers to get Paul George. Who knows if Jerry West even wants to split them? And I know he has made a comment that it sucks that him and Kawhi haven't really been able to play healthy together because when they have, they've looked pretty dominant, and when they didn't, at times, you know, it just got ugly for them. So you never know. Then you got the whole situation in New Orleans with Zion. Like it's like the NBA just set fire in the last month, and now people are quick to write him off because of off the court issues. When it's like, were the right people around him when these decisions were being made? Were there people who tried to help them or help him? Yeah. And, you know, that you see that he doesn't have a relationship with the front office. We don't know. We're not behind the scenes. He doesn't have a relationship with the front office. He doesn't have a relationship with these guys. You know, I guess the one lady who was on the staff, he had a relationship with her, but she's not there anymore. So it sounds like there's ties being cut to Zion. I wouldn't be quick to move from him. I still believe he's a generational talent. When the Pelicans were healthy, they were the number 1 seed. People are forgetting that. They were talking about moving Brandon Ingram and moving Zion, and I don't think I would do that at all. I will let that play out if Zion's able to get healthy, if Zion's able to limit his distractions. Zion just got caught up in, I don't want to say a normal athlete life, but you see those normalities happening to guys like him. Like,
what do you mean that? What do you mean by that?
He's a young single man that got caught into a situation and some infidelity, or however people want to put it.
Right.
And it wasn't under control. He's not the first guy in the NBA to have that happen to him. He's just he just didn't get it handled right. And so, you know, you can't control what another person does when you play with their feelings. But at the same time, too, I don't think it made her look good either. But that's nor my place, nor here or there. I just think
Right.
for him, like I said, he's not the first person to go through something like that. He won't be the last. Some people just won't be as public as he is. So
Yeah.
I think, he's young. He's going to make mistakes. He made a mistake. It's not nothing that's like, oh, his career is over with. If I'm the Pelicans, if we can limit, off the court distractions, if we can keep him healthy, and if he shows up to training camp and he's in shape and he's ready to go, I don't think you move him. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't move him. I wouldn't move him or Ingram. Like I said, when they were healthy, they had everybody there. They were literally the number one team in the West for a short period of time. And once they started dealing with injuries and Zion went back out, then obviously it's like, where do we go from here? So
Yeah.
I keep Ingram. I wouldn't let him go. I would try to keep that core together that they have. But if he does, start showing up to training camp and he's not ready to go, then yeah, you have to question, all right, do we have to move him? How much time do we wait? Do we waste any time? Because it's all about winning, and it's all about who's ready to win, who's coming in prepared. Are they taking their job seriously? And I know they said he had a clause in his contract as well that he had to stand at a certain weight. So I believe if he doesn't honor that, he doesn't get a certain percentage of his money as well. So there's a lot of things that he has to consider when it comes to being a professional, when it comes to being one of the younger faces of the NBA that's supposed to be taking over the NBA, like him and Ja, coming in together in the same draft class. So I think they both got the work cut out for them when it comes to that. I think they both will bounce back given their opportunities. Even if the Pelicans decide to let him go, I think wherever he does get to, he'll be Zion. He's still unstoppable. He's still an unstoppable force. You can't stop him from getting to where he wants to go. Even if he's not just shooting threes, it's almost the same as like Giannis. Like if they're taking and making them, you don't have an answer. But even if they're not taking and making them, Zion still led the league in field goal percentages.
Yeah.
So it's like he's gonna get to the rim. He's gonna get put back dunks. He's gonna bully ball. And there's not nothing you can do about it. You can flop, you can say this, you can say that, but I mean, it's just you can't punish guys. It's almost like a young LeBron when LeBron was in Cleveland. Like you can't punish him for being that much more advanced, that much stronger, that much faster, and coming at you with that type of speed and that velocity that's just hitting your body, and just the type of explosive athletes that they are. So he's a God's gift talent, and I think that's where it stands with him. So I keep him placed until we see what happens at training camp. It looks like his drama's died down a little bit, so you just kind of go from there.
I love it. We're gonna create a weekly segment called Last Word with Vino. I love it. Love it. That's all I have going on for now. Anything else from you?
No, nothing else. I just want to say congratulations to the guys who did get drafted. I was a draft pick in 2018, so I know that was a special moment for those guys and those families that they'll remember for forever. And to the guys who didn't get drafted, it does not matter. There's a lot of people who didn't get drafted but have better stories than most. So write your own story. Whether you're drafted or not drafted, that doesn't determine the way your career goes. But congrats to those guys who did get picked and to those guys who didn't. Just keep working. Let that be a chip on your shoulder.
Love it. What a great thing to say. Look at you. Hey. All right, guys. I think we are all good here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for another week and another episode with Sports and Ish, Misty V and Vince Edwards. You guys, we really, really will get to college football. But I will warn you now, we have the free agency hitting in like 7 days, so we're probably going to talk some more basketball, not going to lie. But you guys...
Sorry.
We're not sorry. We're not sorry at all. You guys can find us on every single platform. That is Apple, that is Spotify, that is iHeartRadio. We are everywhere. We even have YouTube. Sports and Ish. You guys find us, rate, review us. And I know everybody says that, but we kind of really need you to do that. Ask Vino some questions. Like this guy, he's got the in on everything. I love his analysis. This guy's so detailed. Pick his brain. You guys, we'll see you so much sooner than you think. Have a great weekend, everybody. Ciao.